Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible impact. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C45 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm a community relations manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney, focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Dr. James Williams, the CEO of Bloom Consulting. Welcome, James.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you on the show today, and let's just dive right into it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is Dr. James Williams. I'm the CEO of a company called Bloom Consulting. We're based in Cedar Park, Texas, which is a small suburb just north of Austin, Texas. As far as me as an individual, so I've had a long journey professionally, but all within the same vein. So I started out as a public and private special education teacher. Really fell in love with special education. I'm serving students with disabilities, but I also wanted to move beyond academics and see what I could do for those students as adults. And so I became a certified rehab counselor, focused on vocational rehabilitation, so helping people with disabilities get jobs. And from there, worked for a provider, eventually made my way to management roles with providers similar to Bloom Consulting to get to this point. Started in Houston, where I'm originally from, and then moved to Austin for a previous provider. So yeah, it's a little bit about my journey. My doctoral degree is in educational leadership, but an emphasis on in my dissertation was on employment and adults on the spectrum, and kind of what their parents can do to support their employment journey. So it's kind of a big passion of mine. I also am an individual who's on the spectrum myself. I was diagnosed when I was 12, and so that's been quite a journey as well. So both an individual with a disability, but also a proud CEO of a company that supports individuals with disabilities as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And so I kind of want to ask why Bloom, but I feel like everything that you said up to this point led you to Bloom, right?
But basically, yeah. I mean, so Bloom Consulting is named after our owner, Bruce Bloom, and so that's hence the name. It does make a great flower logo, but it's more because of his name. However, yeah, what really led me to Bloom is just kind of this eventual journey of, okay, I'm teaching students, math and science and history and all that, and that's great. But how does this all fit into their lives? Like, how are they going to become productive citizens and adults? How are they going to have their own families? How are they going to, go to college if that's in their pathway? And so yeah, that's really kind of what led me to Bloom, and really just this field in general is just a desire to help people, but to be instrumental in a transition and in a post-secondary transition of their life when they're coming from being a child and dependent on their parents to being independent, and more independent. And so that's the driver behind why I've done what I've done.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's so much you see within kind of the person's disability employment journey. Half of the battle is preparing and making your way to employment. The second half is maintaining employment. So can you tell us a little bit more why is it so important that we have more and more people with disabilities become employed?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. So economically, a large proportion of disabilities in the United States that are adults, and even some that are children or younger, are on government assistance programs, things like Social Medicaid, all types of different government supports. And when those individuals aren't able to work or aren't working, regardless of the reason or the why, they have to be relying on those government sources. So that puts stress on those sources, but it also puts stress on the individual and limits income, which is really not a great way to live anyways. And so that's kind of an economic reason that we really want people with disabilities to go to work. But I would say probably and yes, that is part of what drives me, but not all of it. Really, what drives me even more is just the fulfilling nature of work. purpose really is what I tell people about. Everybody in our lives needs a purpose. And for many of us, not all of us, but for many of us, work is either the purpose or it's a defining part of the purpose. And so work is so instrumental in that way. And it gives us direction, it gives us stability. Yes, it helps us meet our financial needs. We all have to pay our bills and things like that. But that's really not why I do what I do. I do what I do because I believe that individuals with disabilities can work, and with the right support, can be very successful. And I think that's a big driver. The other driver behind it is frankly just that it's not going very well. If you look at our disability employment statistics, they're pretty terrible. And they have been for a long time. And to be fair, they're not great in other parts of the world as well. But I think in the U.S. and the U.S. economy, where we have a lot of opportunity, especially right now with our current unemployment rate. This is a prime opportunity for people with disabilities to be not only entering the workforce, scaling up and moving up in the workforce. And so that's a big driver behind what we do. Yeah.
Especially for businesses out there, because it's the most either unemployed or underemployed population for many years. There's so much talent out there that's being not tapped into. So being able to hiring practices or welcoming, you're able to gain all this new talent. That, at the end of the day, people with disabilities are the most loyal employees, most loyal customers. They come back again and again as customers or retention standpoint. They stay longer.
Absolutely.
There's so much benefit hiring people with disabilities. I'd love to know from you what are some kind of memorable moments with working with Bloom that have had a lasting impact on you.
Oh gosh. There's been a couple. One more recent that I can really proud of is we were given an award by the Texas Workforce Commission, which is our workforce agency, state workforce agency in the state of Texas. Every state has one. And we were given an award recognizing the fact that not only do we do the work that we do, but that we actually hire people with disabilities. And to get the award, you have to 30% or more of your employees have to be individuals with disabilities that disclose. And our percentage was closer to like 70%. And I'm really proud of that. We practice what we preach, we walk the walk. So we not only help individuals get job training, get job supporting, but we do it from a personal perspective, because many of us have a disability ourselves, or our parents of individuals that have disabilities. And so that's something I'm really proud of. Just to be recognized for that, because it's very intentional in what we do, and I've always tried to lead through action, and so that part of it is a big part of it. One other example I would give, just because I think it's different but equally satisfying, is we had an individual that we were helping get a job, really struggled for the last about 4 or 5 years, had gone many different jobs, had done, I think his mom told me at that point maybe 40 interviews. I mean, it was just a staggering number of interviews. And just could not get a fit in an offer and find a place where he was happy. And he had worked even with another provider for about another 2 years, still couldn't find anything. Then his rehab counselor referred him to us. We worked with our case management staff, and we were able to find him a job within a month coming to us. Not only found him a job that fit his needs, what he wanted, but even more impressively for him, within his first year being at the job, or not his first year, I think it was his second month, even less than that, second month, he got basically an employee recognition award. And so not only did he get a job and go through that journey, but he was even as somebody who went above and beyond his typical peers. So that was another really day for us as a company, and for that individual, and for my team, for the hard work.
I love that. You guys walk the walk, you wheel the wheel.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
And what's the first thing that comes to mind for you when you hear the word accessibility?
A lot of things. There's a lot of ways to take it. For me, though, I go more theoretical and more abstract, meaning accessibility in terms of an accessible is what I think about. So that means people with disabilities are truly receiving access, not just physically in terms of physical spaces or activities like that. That is a huge part of it, of course. But it's also full access to the job market, full access to the housing market, full access to social, recreational, and leisure opportunities, full access to have the same joys in life that anybody else has, whether that's having kids or getting married or starting a family, all of those pieces. And I think that to me, if we really want to achieve parity with individuals without disabilities, that's what it has to be about. It has to be about accessibility on the broadest, most global scale you can imagine, and in every field, in every way. And we're certainly not there by any means, not even close. But I do think we're making progress. We do make progress every year, both as a country and as a society, in how we see people with disabilities, but also how we define accessibility. It's not just about putting a ramp in. It's a lot more than that.
But I think so much of getting people with disabilities back into the workforce will change so much of that because we'll be heard of the conversation,
represented, absolutely.
And as a person on the spectrum, I'd love to know from you as what's one thing that you especially with people with autistic people, what do you wish people knew more about?
Oh gosh. I would say for me, oh God, there's a lot I could say. A I don't know. Ooh, that's a tough one actually. There's a couple of things that come to mind. I'll pick the first one. I'll pick the first one I was thinking. So that would be understanding that we are at a very diverse in terms of our interests and our abilities and our values and that. Not everybody on the spectrum wants to be a computer engineer or work in technology. Some of us do. Some of us do and are great at it. And some of us aren't. And some of us are good at it but don't want to do it. And I'm one of those people. I love technology. I'm good at it. I'm good at it. But I don't want to do it for a living. I like doing it as a hobby and for fun. And so I think that's one piece is that avoiding overgeneralization on the spectrum that unfortunately happen quite a bit. I think that's a big piece. I also think understanding the impact and importance of social connection. And the fact that it's different for all. I'll give you an example. We work with some clients who struggle socially because of their diagnosis, who absolutely desire to make social connections and are 150% invested in everything they can to make those connections. We also have individuals who are very reclusive, very much don't really have a lot of human contact, and are completely fine with that and don't want that to change. And that's okay too. So I think part of us is accepting that whether you're on the spectrum or not, some of us are more extroverted, some of us are more introverted, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's comfortability for all of us. And so I think that's a big piece as well. Just because I see a lot of parents that we work with that really push their individuals on the spectrum to be hyper social or very engaged when that's just not who they are as individuals. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think honoring that individual and honoring their right to decide their life and what that life looks like.
And regardless if we're talking about disabilities or autistic people, what is kind of one thing everyone can do to make the world a little bit more inclusive?
I think some of it is just understanding. Being open-minded is a big step, honestly, and not just open-minded, but actually taking actions and walking. Like we talked about, taking those steps that really show that. I think that's a big part of it. I think the other piece of it is also admitting when we don't know or admitting when we don't understand. I'll give you a good example. I work with a lot of different populations of people with disabilities. But one population that I just don't have a lot of training on, and it's just because I've not really had the opportunity to work with those individuals, is people that are deaf or hard of hearing. I have very limited knowledge on how to support those individuals. Most of my staff are in the same position. It's not on purpose. We just haven't really had the opportunity to learn from those individuals, and we serve them like we have a lot of folks in the spectrum, for example. But I admit that. I own that. And I've gone to trainings to try to do better with it, learn from it. We've brought in people with disabilities and people that are deaf, teach us about it. And so I think that's a big part of it. It's acknowledging that we're not all experts in everything even those of us that are in the field, or even those of us that have disabilities. But we are willing to learn from the experts that go through those situations. And I think that's a big part of it.
I love that so much. And I've been injured now for 18 years since my spinal cord injury. And I will always be both a mentor and a mentee. Because I always have more to learn, and I have always more to give. So it's as long as you're proactively moving forward. There's so much about the disability world to learn about and to then teach the world about or better apply within your own life. Dr. Williams, I just want to thank you for being our guest today on accessiBe's Spotlight Session. A wonderful guest.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And to all of our viewers, thank you for staying to the end. accessiBe's Spotlight Session. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and to follow us at accessiBe_community. All right, everyone. Till next time. Take care and thank you for being on this journey with us.